Always has to be a shot at somebody.
I know.
They're never clean.
They have to run. That's the only shot they have.
They do it for 82 games. We're about to find out.
He already has shown what he's capable of.
Did surprise me. I thought we were going to hang in there.
This makes me think that we do need to be humble.
I actually think you're the only one who deserved that beating. Hi.
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm back. Hey, kid.
Just in time.
Jimmy, get taller, would you? Fill up the frame.
I wish,
there we go.
dude.
Get in there.
My dream.
Yeah.
I gave that one up a while
Jimmy
ago.
Toscano is playing hurt tonight. I'll tell you that right now.
Little hurt. I'm going to try to limit my S's as best I can.
Seashells. She sells seashells by the seashore. Go, Jimmy.
It's tough when you're saying Celtics 100 times.
Celtics. The Celtics lose tonight.
Celtics
Jimmy
shing.
Toscano. Jimmy Toscano.
Yeah, I bit my tongue, everybody. Thanks, John.
Pork chops and apple chops.
It's not funny. We just lost a horrible game. The Jazz. See, like it had to be the Jazz tonight too. Couldn't be
the Jazz. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this ahead of time.
Man, this one's tough.
It's gonna get ugly when Bobby gets in here. I'll tell you that right now.
Well,
okay.
Naturally,
we have upset him. Right. Jimmy and I have upset.
Bobby's hands are up.
Jimmy and I, in reality, have upset Bobby tonight, and so it's gonna get bad. But look, it's all a matter of perspective, and it's just how you choose to view things.
Me and John, we're glass half empty guys. So
it's less the glass half empty and more the let's just allow ourselves to be pleasantly surprised as opposed to build expectations. That's more my philosophy, which is it's reasonable to think that they're going to struggle this year. And it's reasonable to think that there's going to be losses like this where you want to kill yourself if you have expectations. If you have none, this season's going to be a lot easier. And what I do think has happened is expectations have been built a little bit beyond maybe where they should be with this team. I think you should be more wait and see, and maybe we'll be surprised, as opposed to declaring they're bad, then declaring they're good, then declaring they're bad again. We can't.
Maybe they're not that bad after all. Maybe they actually can hang in there.
The reasonable perspective, and Joe Mazzulla is going to tell us more, is that it's going to be a struggle. Let's hear from Joe, and then we'll get into this. Muted.
Joe, they had 54 points in the paint. What was at the root of that success, especially in the third quarter when they had 20?
Yeah. I mean, that's the tell is that our first half was great, and I think the third quarter they got the best of us and they played harder than us. So it was a combination of just transition, offensive rebounds, and then some of their dribble drive stuff, not being able to defend without fouling. So you have to be able to put a full game together. The first half was good. Third quarter cost us, and when it's a close game like that, it's anybody's game.
And were you given an explanation towards the end there where Jalen got tripped and there was a no call?
No, it was not.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't like that.
So, I think you guys are
that was a bad call.
3-point percentage now this year.
Bobby, no.
Anything you're seeing there?
No, Bobby.
Shots? Are you getting the kind of quality looks from outside that you would like?
Yeah, I mean, I think most of them have been. It's a tough shooting night for sure, but we have to be able to knock down shots.
And the impact of screening. You have a lot of new bigs this year. Al, like Kristaps, those kind of guys were doing a lot. And
screening talk.
Where are your bigs at in terms of freeing guys, getting the advantages you want? Like, where would you say they're at with that?
I mean, they're always going to have to be where they are and then getting better. So, I mean, it's just there are reads that you have to make constantly throughout the game. So if there's 50 in a game, you want to get your read percentage up to over 90%, and they're continuing to get better at. But it's just something that you have to work on every day, but it changes throughout the entire game. So they have an understanding of what those reads are. It's just continuing to work on those, to make those during the game.
Joe, you mentioned third quarter came out. You said they just played harder than you guys. Was there anything specific that went into that? Was it just, they picked up their own pace and intensity and stuff, and you guys did?
I definitely think they picked up their pace. I think we had some. I thought our offense put pressure on our defense to where we just had too many empty possessions offensively, and they were able to score. And whether it was and ones or offensive rebounds or, a little bit of, like I said, some of our defensive miscues of corner threes. So I think just kind of, getting so many empty possessions offensively just put too much pressure on our D, and we didn't hold the fort down.
What do you think went into those empty offensive possessions? Was it just,
Mostly it was misses of relatively decent shots, mostly. I mean, I think we had a couple turnovers or anything, but most of the time it was just misses. Yeah.
Joe, in that last stretch with the comeback, it seemed like that's the defense at its best with all the deflections. Is that kind of like what you're envisioning? If obviously you can't do that the entire game, but is that?
Well, I would say the first quarter too. I mean, they had the first half in general. I mean, they had 10 turnovers in the first half. I thought we played a really disciplined game plan. And so I think it was, you're looking at the first half and you're looking at the fourth quarter comeback as kind of what the identity is of what we need to be for, as close to 48 minutes as possible. So yeah, I think it was a combination of the first half and that stretch as well.
And then you said the third quarter they played harder. You haven't really said that, I don't think, after any game this season. Is that the first time you felt that way this season, that there's been a stretch like that where you guys have been outplayed? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. I mean, they got the best of us. I mean, they just played better. They played harder and better than we did during that quarter.
Joe, everybody makes a run. We all know that. But this team has had now a tendency to give up these monster quarters. What's the key to limiting these runs to smaller portions and then recovering?
Yeah, I mean, it's transition defense and keeping them off the free throw line. Got into the bonus early. When you get into the bonus early, it's tough to bounce back from that. So it's transition defense, it's offensive rebounds, and it's defending without fouling.
And you talked about the offense puts pressure on the defense. Do you see, because this has been a prolonged slump, do you see guys kind of reacting now to the misses to a point where they're not getting back? You talked the other game about, hey, we missed, but we sprinted back.
Yeah.
Is that going away a little bit?
No, I mean, we just did it the other day. I think it's just something that you have to do every day, just regardless of, the past result of that possession. You have to just move on to the next one. So I don't think it was anything mental. I think it was more just you can't go that long without scoring when you're playing against a good offensive team and a team that executes well. So I don't think it wasn't impacting us from that standpoint. It was just you have to be able to when you get open shots like that, you got to be able to make them, and you can't have as many empty possessions like that.
You guys have a pretty inexperienced team, especially compared to the last few years. How do you get everybody up to speed and kind of knowing all the little details? It felt like some of those hurt you tonight. Yeah,
the little things, whether it's fouls, whether it's personnel leaving those open. You just have to hold them to a standard, and I think it's a process of it. I think it's just a combination of your film study, your shoot-arounds. I mean, our guys do a good job of wanting to learn and study that, and now it's getting the reps of executing those in real time. And you're never going to be perfect in them, but we've gotten better at those, and tonight we just weren't great at it. So you have to make just like everything else, you have to make the commitment to be able to do that every night.
And then it seems like you've been pretty honest with your team that the margin for error isn't the same as it was before. Is this kind of an example of that for your team? What do you take from this and kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. When you're in a close game like that and you have the possessions that you have to win of executing defensively or executing the game plan or executing the personnel coverages, those possessions where you don't do that, those hurt you. So yeah, it's a perfect example of that.
Joe, they rebounded you 46-22 after the first quarter. What's happening? Like, I know they had 3 7-footers out there at times, but is that want to? Is that drive? Is that just technique? Like, why are you guys getting pounded on the boards like this?
Yeah, again, like we're never going to be top 5, but we have to be better. And I think it's just it's a combination of, again, there's ones that we have to get. And then we have to be able to compensate in other areas to be better at that, whether it's our shot making, whether it's our turnovers, whether it's our offensive rebounds, whether it's us not turning over. We're doing a good job on not turning it over in there. So we just have to fight to be better in that.
And with the threes, I know it's a part of the offense, Joe, but are guys looking at those as more now as home run balls? Guys are putting their heads down when they miss their Peyton is, like guys are wondering why they're missing.
Yeah.
And that's got to be a level of frustration which maybe affects the defensive side. Like, is this kind of thing spreading a little bit? Like, why are the threes kind of just affecting everything?
I say because we're probably not making them at the average rate that, you mentioned Peyton not making him at the rate that he has been in his career. So I think the thing that I tell him the most is that you're not defined by your shot making. I mean, you're defined by doing so many other
Kind
things.
of are.
Kind of is.
You don't need to be defined by that, and you're a much better player than just shot making. So as long as you can just focus on those things, and focus on the process of that, the other stuff will come around.
On that note, Jalen went 0 for 9 from the three-point line tonight.
Oh, my God.
With 36 points, was getting to the line a ton. Are there any particular aspects of his game in a game like tonight that you would want to see the rest of the team emulate, even when he's got so many of those misses?
Yeah, I mean, I think I thought he played really well today. He was gave us a shot. I think to me, it's a combination of like what he did tonight, playing at his best, and how we played in the first half as a team, and how we played in the comeback of the middle of the fourth quarter as a team. I think it's a combination of those things. We all have a job to do different things. He gave us a shot from that perspective, but we obviously all have to be better. Me, the guys, we have to be more like we were in the first half and that run in the fourth quarter. Thank you.
Humble, somber Joe Mazzulla press conference here. No, not snappy, not angry. Kind of just. This is what it is. This is what it is. This is what Bill was like in the down years too. Less defiant, less combative, because you can't be that when you're bad. And so you got to kind of eat it a little bit because you're on the wrong side of failure here. And it doesn't look great. We welcome in Sherrod Blakely. And yeah, I mean, look, when it gets down to it, Gary, I know, asked a lot of those 3-point questions, and it is what it is. But, Joe's right. Like, Peyton Pritchard, there's no reason those are going to continue to not go down, right? Derrick White's in a bit of a slump too. You expect that to kind of go back up a little bit. So I don't think like they're going to be bad. They're going to be league worst bad forever. But it is a fact that you used to have shooters all over the floor, and you could find open shooters and create your 2-on-1s and always find, a guy. If somebody had to help off of someone, you were always able to kick to a shooter, and you're just playing too many lineups that don't have those guys. So those guys have to kind of create a lot of their own shots now, as opposed to be the beneficiaries of, just the way that this offense would run. Keep swing it till you find the open guy, and everybody was capable of hitting it. And that's more conducive to shooting at a higher percentage. Now you've got the guys who shoot threes. They have to kind of create their own, or drive and kick, and you just don't have those guys as much on this team that are able to do that. And the guys you're kicking to aren't as good. You're going to kick to Minot in the corner. It's going to go the way it's going to go. So there's fewer shooters. They're going to shoot more poorly. It's a team with holes without answers. And the only way that it works is they play hard, right? The whole way through. And what Joe said there, and Noah's question, is this the first time you can remember getting outworked? It's the first time I can remember it. They definitely had the wind taken out of their sails a little bit by Houston, and just how dominant that was late in that game. Things got out of hand a little bit, and they were never really in that one to stay with. But this was probably one of the few, like, the other teams outworking you quarters of the season. And that's the recipe for these guys. They got to play their asses off every single night, and they still might lose if they have a down shooting night, or they're just getting killed on the boards, because these are just areas that they're just not as strong this year. It's just a reality. So this is a bad loss to a bad team that's in it's in Tanksville on the second night of a back-to-back. They just got run out of the building by Charlotte last night. They come in here and beat you. It's a bad loss. No other way to put it. It's a bad loss.
What's up, fellas? No, it's a bad loss, not only because of the team you play, but really, I mean, just for that particular circumstance, the fact that this is a back-to-back. You absolutely should have been the harder working team, and that just did not happen. And that's something that we haven't said about them this season, and the numbers back it up. And even as much as they were outworked from pretty much from the beginning to the end there, it took them having one of the worst 3-point shooting nights they've had all season. Jaylen Brown getting tripped at the very end, and Utah absolutely clobbering them on the glass. And even at that point, it's like the Celtics basically were 1 or 2 defensive stops away from pulling away this win. And the reality is, they have little to no margin for error. They have to be, the only thing that they can control is their ability to outwork the opponent. And when that fails, they're failed. They're not going to beat teams by simply outplaying them because they're just not good enough. As you pointed out, John, they had the ability to have 2 or 3 guys have rough shooting nights because you usually had 2 or 3 other guys who could make shots. But now they don't have that type of balance. They don't have that type of elite perimeter shooting or guys that can make things happen at either end of the floor, for that matter. I thought, the offensive rebound that Nurkic got where Keita is on one arm and the ball is being laid up, right there at the basket, that was just symbolic of how this game was played. Utah made all the plays that you got to make to win games, and the Celtics did not, period.
Symbolic of how the game was played. Also, a little symbolic of how the team is built, Sherrod. I mean, the Celtics lose basically on getting out-bodied down low, and Utah was very big. 3 7-footers they had out there? But regardless, completely outworked on the glass tonight. I think they were outworked just up and down the court. They go into an early lead. What was it, 10-0 and then 14-2? And got to give Utah credit. Keontae George, unbelievable performance. For
They couldn't guard him all night.
No, he was getting to the line. He was scoring from all over, and he was outworking everybody. And now I give Jaylen Brown credit for kind of trying to will the team back to, victory in a close. They got close, right? As the shots were just not falling, they had no choice but to attack the rim. So I was glad to at least see that happen a little bit. But man, you go 11 for 51 from 3. To me, that's shocking that the Celtics even had a chance to win this game still with the way they shot the ball, which was probably historically ugly. I mean, 50 plus threes and they hit 11. And then to get outworked on the glass the way they did as well. If they were playing a team that was any better, they probably are losing by double digits. It's not even a chance for them in this game. But I give Utah all the credit in the world. Second night of a back-to-back, like you said, Sherrod, it should have been the Celtics coming out playing hard after being embarrassed at home Saturday night against Houston. They go out there and get embarrassed again. So, again, early in the season, but you're now 3-5. And what John alluded to at the beginning of the show, Sherrod, before you jumped on, is that Bobby's a little upset with us because we're getting real with him. And I think maybe he's going to be a little bit late to coming around to it, but he's trying to say a lot of good things are going the Celtics way and a lot of bad things. And what I'm saying is a lot of good things, maybe a couple good things here and there, but
not a lot. Not a lot.
5. You look. I know we're 8 games into the season. You can look at the standings all you want right now, but look at the standings. You're looking at the teams that should probably be around you in the standings, to be completely honest, and they're all non-playoff teams. So that's, I think, where you're at right now.
And again, it's early, and you can count the things that are going well.
It is
right
early.
Now. Jaylen Brown, the alpha hat suits him well right now. He was in full takeover mode tonight. Total bully ball. Got what he wanted. Willed the Celtics back in. Scored about 13 points over a span of 4 minutes there in that fourth quarter. The 0-9 3 is going to hurt. But that's a little bit of regression to the mean. He's not a 48% three-point shooter, but if he's got that number back up into 37-38, he's still not dunking. I'm not going to get into that because he was good, but he's still not. He had a couple opportunities where he would absolutely just hammer a dunk, and he's not doing it yet. But again, you're going to assume that's coming. I hope.
He's just playing smarter.
He's still shooting. He's shooting the lights out. He's getting terrific separation. He's able to move. He's able to get that mid-range off. He's able to get to the basket. He's using his physicality. He was in beast mode tonight. So Jaylen is you're happy with almost, with most of what you're getting there. Also, he had the Tommy Point play of the night, hitting the deck on that loose ball there.
Right.
You don't see stars doing that every single night. He wanted this one. He wanted to win. He played his ass off down the stretch. What else is going well? Yeah, a little bit of a Josh Minot revelation for a couple of games, but I think he might have turned into a pumpkin these last 2, which is kind of what you're going to get here. Nemish Keita is not a total bust as your 1C, but he's not a world beater, but he's been competitive. He's been competitive, and the overall compete level has been extremely high for this team for most of the season. I don't know what else we're saying is good right now. Like
Well,
on
John,
the if you check the
They
good
still can't
box.
shoot.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're shooting horribly. They can't rebound. Defense is questionable.
They're
They're
not getting to the
fouling the
line.
crap. They're fouling the crap out of opponents. The turnover rate is high, but they're doing that because they know that they can't defend straight up, and they're trying to cause chaos and get those turnovers. But it's also killing them on the glass, and it's not translating to second chance to transition buckets. So not a lot good right now. And again, we got someone else coming to the podium. We'll hear from them now. Might be
Derrick White.
Speaking of not good.
Yeah, another struggle.
Whoops.
Yeah, he's probably the poster child for struggles right now.
Sad, Derrick. Hate to see it.
This is sad, Derrick. I don't like this Derrick White.
Yeah.
Like good with my energy, even though I'm not shooting well, but I thought I was shitty today, honestly. So and I think I'm a big reason why they got back in that game.
Do you find that it's starting to weigh on anything else, any other aspects of the game?
I mean, it's tough, especially when you feel like you're getting good looks. I think for a lot of us, feel like we're getting good looks, and then you keep missing them. It's frustrating, but
Sounds like a yes to me.
Just keep going.
Derrick, you guys held them to 36 points in the first half. They put up 38 in the third quarter. What did you see that changed there?
I mean, just bad. I don't know exactly what happened, but bad communication, bad rotations. They kind of did whatever they wanted that quarter, and I feel like that's been kind of like the whole year. There's always been that one quarter that seems to get us.
You mentioned that being kind of a recurring issue with the one quarter. Is there anything that you guys can do to particularly fix that, or?
You just got to figure out a way to play for 48 minutes. Simple. I mean, it's not simple, but like that's what we have to do. I mean, obviously, missing and making shots makes things a little better, but just our effort just wasn't acceptable, especially in that third quarter. It just wasn't ready. I don't know. Just wasn't acceptable.
This is painful. That was painful. That was sad, Derrick. I don't know. Have we ever seen Derrick White that sad? God,
that hurt me.
That hurt.
I don't even want to. I don't even want to criticize him. Yeah,
I feel well.
Not that I ever do.
Here's the thing, though. A lot of the stuff that Derrick White talked about was spot on. He's not playing well. As a team, they're playing not good basketball, and this is a team that has a very small margin for not good basketball. So that's a problem. It's a big problem. And the fact that Derrick, when he was asked about whether it's starting to spill elsewhere, he gave the yes without saying yes response. Talking about it's tough, man. It's tough, which is that it's basketball code without throwing anyone under the bus. Yeah, it's tough that we're not able to just play harder for longer. My
concern with that is that we've seen Derrick White like at the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and
just fell lower.
When he's high, he's one of the most fun players to watch in the league. When he's low, man, he needs to figure out a way to get himself like out of like the mental, whatever's going on. Because remember when he kind of got traded to Boston, he kind of struggled at first, and I think he admitted that it was tough for him. And then at that point, and then he had a really tough stretch. Was it last year where he said, basketball wasn't really even that fun for him, and he was struggling at that point. He had to get himself out of that one. So he's got to figure out a way to get himself out of this season starting slump here, because it's been pretty tough from the get-go. And I don't know if it has to do with a different role, if it has to do with maybe higher expectations, whether he put them on himself or whether other people have. I don't know if it has to do with the players around him or what, but you really hope that he can get himself back to where he needs to be, because Jaylen Brown can be all NBA, but if he's not getting any help anywhere else, it's not going to matter. And tonight, you got a little bit from Pritchard to start the game. Pritchard looked like he was getting into a little bit of a zone there, and one of Pritchard's better games of the year, but that tailed off in the second half. And so he ended up with just a Jaylen Brown game. And I don't care who you're playing, Jazz, whoever, it's just not enough in this league anymore. You got to have a couple heads to the snake here, if that's the saying.
Yeah, I'm still not. Yeah, no, that's exactly the saying. I'm still. Joe Mazzulla said it beforehand, and I know it's coach speak. Like, you know, he doesn't think Derrick's playing poorly. He just thinks he's missing shots. I tend to agree. I think we look at that, but the problem is, like, he on this team, he's being relied upon to be the number 2 scorer. And again, among my concerns, and I keep reiterating them, it's not victory laps. It just is what it is. Everyone's like, oh, Derrick and Pritchard will be fine. And my concern with why they might not be, as I said at the beginning of the year, is Jaylen Brown's the only one used to this. Like, Derrick White does everything well. He's smart. He makes the right reads. He plays defense. He's gritty. Mm-hmm. He's a good team defender. He's a good floor general. He just does every basketball thing well. But on this team, he's being asked to be the number 2 offensive option behind Jaylen Brown. And that's just never been his bag. You know, Jaylen Brown going from the number 2 because I have to be, because Tatum shoots a lot and we're going to share the ball, to number 1. He's got that in his DNA. Yeah, give me the ball. I'll be the guy. That's not a leap. But Pritchard and White are both being asked to take massive leaps forward in terms of the burden that they carry offensively on this team. So it's not shocking that they're struggling. It's not always just, oh, they're just missing shots. And in many cases they are, and both are going to go through a hot streak and make you forget some of this stuff too. But a lot of it is just what we said earlier, is they're in a position where they just don't have as much help around them. They don't have the gravity that, you know, is created by guys like Tatum and Porzingis to take the pressure off of them, to give them more breathing room, to give them more open looks, to have defenders sag off them because they're worried about somebody else. That's not existing. I was at the Houston game, and that was like, oh my God. That was like, there was 11 guys on the court, you know, like everywhere these guys went, Pritchard and White, there was just people all over them. You know, that doesn't happen when you've got Tatum and Porzingis out there. Like, everyone's got to be concerned, you know, with like, oh geez, there's you know, there's this guy and there's that guy. No, every time those guys had the ball, they were just swarmed. So it's harder. Life is harder for these guys right now. And what are you going to ask him? Like, hey, Derrick, when are you going to be good again? Like, you know, a 2-question press conference is crazy here, but you know,
well, it's going to get to the point, John. What do you say? I mean, again, it's early, but if Joe's going to say he's playing well but missing shots, I mean, what do you ask the guy? How do you get yourself out of it? I guess.
And again, so going back to the thing we said, Jimmy, because I think this is important. Like, at the beginning, you know, we're talking about like the reality, and we're having tough time, like having conversations with like the Bobbies of the world and this and that, who are kind of like looking at things through, you know, a little bit of a, you know, I'm not going to say, you know, like green glasses, but just differently, where they're like, well, they look at the positive and say, maybe we can spring forward and this will turn out positive. And we're looking at it a little bit differently here. You know, I think instead of worrying about what you and I say or what Bobby says or what, you know, the green teamers say or the haters say, like, just listen to Jaylen Brown and Derrick White at most of their press conferences. They're telling you right now, it's going to be rough. We don't have a lot of talent. Like, this isn't the same. We're working on it. We're trying to figure it out. But like, when Derrick White's fielding questions, like, why is it bad? Part of his answer wants to be like, we're just not that. We're not as good, man. We're just.
Or when they don't take questions.
I mean, the guys here aren't as good, and like, he doesn't want to say that, but he's like exasperated a little bit. Like, he knows he's not doing his part, but they're looking around the room. It's like, we just don't have the same guys, man. I don't know what you want.
Right, but even with Derrick White's nonverbal communication said a lot. I mean, he's got the hoodie all the way on. He's looking down. He's got the hand over the face. He's
defeated.
I mean, he looks like someone who is absolutely defeated. And I'll disagree with the fact that I do think his struggles are affecting him at both ends of the floor, because Derrick White is not the same defender that we've seen in the past, in part because he has more responsibilities.
It's a greater burden. Yeah.
It's to me, it's a problem. And I think Derrick is really trying to figure out, how can I become a better all-around player, knowing that I have to elevate pretty much every aspect of my game. And I think the transition from the role they've had in the past to where they are expected to do now, I think it's a little bit easier for Peyton Pritchard, because there were clear rooms of growth for his game. Like, Peyton could become a better rebounder, could become a better playmaker. And as a starter, he's getting that opportunities. And when his shot isn't falling, Peyton has figured out more times than not how to help in other areas. But when you're Derrick White and you're good at everything, now you just have to be good at everything, only better, and become more of an impact scorer. It's a much harder challenge for you, because he's been on teams where they could survive him struggling, because if your fourth or fifth option isn't knocking down shots, you can still, instead of win by 17, you might win by 7 or 8. But when you're the number 2 guy, you have to have a level of consistency. And Derrick White hasn't been able to do that. And again, I don't know if it's going to get better, because again, you're asking him to do something he's never been asked to do before. He's never been asked as an NBA player to be the number 2 option. And that's what he's asked to do now, because they don't have anyone with the prerequisite skills to be that. And you can say, well, what about Simons? He's been a number 1 on a bad team. What does that translate to being number 1, 2, or 3 on a good team, or on a better team? We don't know what that looks like. But Derrick White, I think his body language just really said everything about where he's at and where his game is right now. It's just not where he wants to be, and certainly not where the Celtics needed to be.
Yeah, no doubt. Where is your game at? Where's my game at? I'll tell you, your game right now, Prize Picks should be your game, okay? Get in on the action right now. Quick pause for the cause. Tell you about our sponsor here at the Garden Report. And yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Cue the B-roll. All right, I'll do it.
Damn it, Bailey.
No, it's fine. This episode, as all episodes, are brought to you by Prize Picks. Jimmy, we make decisions every day. Prize Picks,
we do.
Being right gets you paid. It's that simple. Number 1 daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. Don't miss the excitement this season, or really any season, any sport that you follow. Prize Picks is there for you. It's simple to play, more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections.
Yeah.
You get the picks right, you could cash in up to 2,000 times your cash. Very, very simple. You can cross sports if you want. You can, do it all from one game. That's how I like to do it, particularly with football.
You stack them?
I don't like to look around, and you see the thing on the thing, you see it on the screen. Code CLNS. That's all you have to do. You download the app, code CLNS, get 50 in your lineups when you play $5. Once again, download the app, code CLNS. You get 50 in your lineups as soon as you play 5. It is that easy and a lot of fun. As we said, a lot of action. You have injury guarantees if you lose a player. That's not going to hurt you. You also have, what's it called? The flex play, where you can cash out early.
Yeah.
Great opportunities, free squares. Put them into your lineup. Makes it much, much easier to win. So check out Prize Picks today. Get in on that action now. We're going to hear from Noah and
Prize
Bobby
Picks.
in just a little bit.
It's good to be right.
It is good to be right. We're going to hear from Noah and Bobby in just a minute. One thing we do want to tell you about first, and Noah will hit on it as well. We're doing a fundraiser between now and the end of the show. Anybody here and guys, do we have a link, or are we just telling
I think there's
people?
a link. No, I think there's a link. I think there's supposed to be like maybe a QR code of some sort or something like that.
Yeah, it's pinned in the chat. I'm being told it's pinned in the chat. Okay, it's not in the lower third. It's pinned in the chat right now. There's an opportunity for you to donate here to hurricane relief in Jamaica. Anybody paying attention to that situation right now? It's really, really, if you're not paying attention, if you are, if you're not, it's really, really devastatingly bad right now. And Noah, our own Noah Dalzell's roommate, is from Jamaica. We're fundraising for her family, a friend that lost everything in Hurricane Melissa. All of their belongings currently staying and living in an office due to it being one of the few places that they can accommodate them during this time. The fundraiser will cover relocation costs while also covering necessary health-related tests as a result of the hurricane. So the link is in the chat. You can do that. Also, for the rest of this show, any and all super chats that come into the Garden Report starting now, anything now would go towards hurricane relief. So we have 8 super chats right now. Jimmy gets to keep all of that. Anything going forward, go into Jamaica. I'm just kidding.
Dude.
Jimmy doesn't get to keep all of it.
Dude, you can.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm
let's
just kidding.
give these 8. Give these 8 too.
We can give.
all good.
We are gonna rip through some of these super chats right now. Tillman, undersized, unathletic center. This is from most hated. Tillman's undersized, unathletic center who can't shoot threes. What's the point of him? It's a mean thing to say, but I see no lies right now. Like, this is who he is. He's a good backup. Physical, can defend, can switch. Again, I don't know what's going on, here, but yeah, it's been rough for sure. Can someone explain to me NHC 77? Yeah, there's a lot. You guys can tell me what you thought about this one. This was a bad call. Player on the ground tripping. Jalen wasn't called. I don't think I've seen that call not called until tonight. That seemed painfully obvious.
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah, I don't know how you not call that. I mean, that's literally, if you were to define a tripping foul, that's literally what a tripping foul looks like.
Yeah, it is.
I don't care if you slipped and fell. You slipped and fell right in front of the guy dribbling the ball. It wasn't even off ball, Sherrod.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Driving to the damn hoop, and he gets tripped. Plain as day. I mean, they swallowed the whistle on that one. I don't know what happened there. I have a feeling. I know for a fact that Jaylen Brown was pissed after that one.
And it was a bad one.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
It was a bad one. Ripping through a couple more. Yo, 1, no 2. I had hope for Kada. It's fading like JB's hairline. Double burn. That one's tough. Our buddy John Harop here. Soft tank, baby. Keep on rolling. Bonus cashed out Celtics when they were winning. Sprinkled Jazz. Okay, wow. John did a lot of things today.
John made bangers tonight. Burgers for everybody.
We still gotta visit that food truck, John. I promise it's coming. Soft tank, someone in the chat asked earlier what that is, and people still struggle with this concept because yes, players do not tank, management does. Management has already kind of determined what type of season this is going to be. If they win, they win. But how do you soft tank? You start to rest guys. You start to not focus on winning as much. You start to just kind of develop people. You philosophically take a different approach to how you get into these games. You maybe don't kill Jaylen Brown in a meaningless year, playing him 40 minutes a night and start to build in some rest games. This is what it's about, and this is where it could go if things go off the rails. Obviously, you want to be competitive, but you want Jaylen playing 82 and 37 minutes a night. I don't know. David Andrews.
You don't put him in like a Jaden Daniels situation. How about that?
Yeah. David Andrews, we suck in the half. No wonder they want to force turnovers.
True.
No lies. It's gimmicky.
Yeah.
They're resorting to gimmicks based on personnel issues. John, again, as John says, why is boxing people out not popular in the NBA? I will never understand this. I'll never understand it.
It's like the most fundamental thing you learn about the game.
Yeah, Bobby's in the way
of biting off someone.
Find a body, turn around, get him out, box him out. Don't keep him on your hip. Get him friggin' on your backside.
Right.
Clear him out.
Bobby's entering the room here. Please make Bobby list the pros and cons when he gets on. That might happen.
We should actually.
ZP0423. This is a droid, Star Wars droid here. You need both J's, not just one, and role players. Absolutely. Jimmy J, this looks to be for Jamaica. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
prayers. And Noah D.
It could also be for the Celtics, though.
It could be for the Celtics.
We'll take them. We'll take them wherever we can get them.
Noah D, why get rid of a contending team? Because we didn't want the penalties of the second apron, and penalties don't seem bad at all. Shaking my head. Yeah, we've had this conversation too. I'm gonna put this one back on the screen here, and because I want Bobby to come out swinging. Please make Bobby list the pros and cons when he gets on. Okay.
Please. Be careful what you wish for. All right, pros, go.
Look at him. He's salty as hell.
His hands are just up in the air. What should I do?
I'm fed up, John. This has been boiling.
I know
for
you
weeks.
are. I know it
Yeah.
has.
Listen, it's going to be tough to defend this team after tonight. The rebounding woe returned after 4 straight wins, so that was heading in the right direction. The shooting dipped to rock bottom. They're now 29th in the league in three-point shooting, so that's something that's in the negative, obviously, here. But from a positive, it's Jaylen Brown, plus 21 in this game, able to get to the shots that he wants, and looking like he is capable of leading this team, driving this team. Sam Hauser, I would list as a positive, who's been excellent to start this year. I feel like Nemesh Keita has given them capable center minutes.
What was Sam Hauser's shooting line?
So
we're just going to go off tonight with Hauser.
No. What we're doing, Bobby,
I'll give you Hauser.
Time out. This is basically a microcosm of phenomenal, okay? You've just listed one really good thing and 2 decidedly dead average things and called them really good. I just want to point that out.
I just want to say regarding Hauser, just because you mentioned him, last 3 games, 4 points, 6 points, 3 points.
Overall for the season,
and then sorry, Cleveland he had 21
from 3. Jimmy.
Okay, he's at 45%
3
from
games
3.
is like 39% of the
points.
season. That's a pretty sizable chunk of the season at this point. 3 games.
Well, then
we're
sorry,
talking about the full 7 games there.
Okay, fine. Pelicans 9 points, Pistons 8 points. He has 2 double-digit points games. Anyways, go on. More pros.
I would list Keita as a pro overall to start this year. Simons is veering toward a negative. I like the start of the year. That's heading in a wrong direction right now. I've liked Garza's minutes. I've liked Minot's minutes despite the shooting diminishing a little bit here. And the ball control.
You just said Garza?
Garza's been solid. And then the biggest one by far, Jimmy, and I'll wrap it here, is their ball control advantage, which is a pretty major positive for them. They are dominating the turnover battle right now this season. And if shooting does come around, and I don't know if you guys think they're going to be the worst shooting team in the league, maybe they are, they're going to be a better team than we've seen to this point.
You look what you did.
Sherrod doesn't like it.
Look what you did to Sherrod, man. Your pros are down here. I get it now.
He left?
Your pros are down here, Bobby. My pros are up here. In order for it to be a pro, my barometer is up here. Yours is down here because Garza doesn't make my list of pros. Sorry.
So that's
well, we are
problem,
grading
Bobby,
this team on a scale, right?
No,
Well,
we're not. We're not. It is good is we are not, because on a scale, that means you're talking about a bad team that we recognize as bad and saying they're doing okay considering how bad they are. We're not. We're looking at it objectively and saying.
And actually, he's not either. Don't let him switch it up.
Yeah.
He's not either. Now he's trying to change the narrative here, Bobby. You are not scaling that. Your pros are not based on a scale. You had this as a playoff team. You had this as a team that can compete, so on and so forth.
And
now
they still
lose
might.
to the
They
Jazz,
still might.
And now it's on a scale.
Right. And I'll say this.
Bobby,
they
the biggest pro, Bobby, the biggest pro that you're missing is none of those guys are actually pros in the sense of like either might be slightly better than expected. And Josh Minot would be in that category too to start the season, and then he tapered. The best thing going for them is buy-in and energy. And then Jaylen Brown being able to kind of play in that alpha role. But everything else has been inconsistent.
Yeah, I was trying to name
bad.
specifics though.
Yeah,
I mean, there's like a generally good vibe around this team. There is the buy-in, as you mentioned there. And the effort level.
Was there a
I
good
was just
vibe
going to say,
tonight?
Don, the effort level dipped tonight. And I think Joe acknowledged as much.
That's the
this
first
is the first
time.
time this year that's happened. And you can't. My big thing coming into tonight, you start off with the pros. So that's where I started. My big thing coming into tonight is, and a big reason I thought that they'd be able to exceed expectations this year, John, is they could beat up on the Utahs of the world. They could take advantage of the Brooklyns of the world. Are they separating themselves from this team? That was my question coming into tonight. They're going to play the Wizards on Wednesday. Are you going to beat the Wizards and Jazzes of the world by 15, 20 points? There were times where it looked like they were capable of that tonight, but they didn't string it together. And we saw tonight. Yes, and we saw once again, this is the biggest conversation we've had this year. The margin for error is too slim. couple bad minutes, a bench unit that can't string together points, a bad shooting night. There are any number of things that could sink you against anybody. So tonight's lesson is every single game is going to be hard for this team this year. There might be some easy games where, opponents are demoralized, like the Cleveland game, or, you just catch a team on a bad scheduling. And again, Utah was in a bad scheduling stretch here on a back-to-back. This is a rough one because I thought you'd be able to take advantage of these teams pretty handily. You, on paper, are much better than this Utah team, but they came out and outplayed you, hit you where you were weak, found ways to come back from down double digits, outcoached you in many ways. This is tough because the schedule has been difficult. They've had a tough scheduling, like in terms of amount of games to the past week here. So you chalked up that Houston loss to 5 games in 7 nights. Joe's big thing before this game was you can give them grace for this loss against Houston just because of the scheduling and all that. But how do you respond to it? And this was not a great response here.
Yeah. And I guess, that's the thing, Bobby, we were saying in the beginning, and again, I don't want to overreact to any win or any loss because, again, I think, each of us feel the way that we feel, and we need to see it for a lot longer to see what's going to work, what was fool's gold, what might be found money, all of that stuff. I don't know. I don't actually know. So we will, see what happens here. But, the Houston thing was a reality check just in terms of like, holy crap, that's a really good team. The Utah, this is what we talked about is you're not good enough to walk into
a really bad team and you lost.
You're not good enough to walk into any arena. I said this at the beginning and we in a lot of our text chats, you're not good enough to walk into any arena and beat a team just because you are who you are. You have to play hard, which, again, the effort, as you said, and, you gotta, you have to, you can't shoot 11 for 51 from 3, like there's just the margin for error is really, really, really,
the 3 thing is starting to piss me off a little bit.
It is. And Gary got into that. I want to get your thoughts on it when we get, we get Noah on and hear your thoughts on that. And I'm curious why, because I actually don't know how else they're going to score if they don't shoot them. But before we do that, I want to tell you guys about our pals over at Omaha Steaks. And yeah, we're still running this promotion, so I want you guys to get in on the action. If you're interested, anybody who likes steak or wants to get some for yourself or for a gift, go ahead and check it out. Omaha Steaks right now is running a site-wide sale, 50% off sale with an extra 20% off on select items. In addition to that, an extra $35 off when you use the code Patriots at checkout. And it's not just steaks, it's burgers, it's chicken, potatoes, desserts, all sorts of things. And you see it right there, 50% off site-wide. You go check it out. It's an early Black Friday sale. You can get a terrific product sent to your door. And again, use that code Patriots at checkout for an extra $35 off. You can send it to yourself right now, or you can have it sent to someone as a gift. This is a great gift for the holidays. It allows for the holiday shipping. It'll arrive about 10 days prior to the holidays. So again, that's an option. You can go order it now, take advantage of that sale, have it sent off as a gift and check it out. I've already ordered 2 boxes myself. One of them I ate the other night. There's a lot of them. I ordered 8 steaks and then a roast as well coming around Christmas. I can't eat them every night, but delicious. Check it out. 100% certified tender. Check it out right now. Getting back into the game itself, and Bobby said the threes bothered him. So, Bobby, tell me why that is, and we're going to welcome Noah in as well.
It's not the threes. It's not the threes that bother me. It's Joe's unwillingness to address it. Like, you want to be a three-point shooting team. You want to put up 50 a game. You want to be that kind of team. Great. I have no problem with it. And I've defended him because I think it keeps their turnover rate down. I think they have the shooters to play that kind of style. It's a common criticism of this team that I just don't think stacks up a lot of the time. But you can't start a season through, 7 games in now or whatever. It's not a huge sample, but you can't start a season like this and have a game like this tonight and not acknowledge the role that variance, that style, that the downsides of committing to the 3 that much have. They shot nearly 60% of their attempts from three tonight. They're not going to the free throw line because they shoot the fewest shots in the league at the rim. They've, throughout his tenure, gone to the extreme of three-point volume, playing that game, and not having other valves offensively to lean to when you go ice cold. It's the reason they lost to the Knicks. And so to get mad when you even utter the word three, to not address like their shooting quality through these games. I know they're missing some open threes here, but there just has to be some accountability for some of the offensive lapses that they've had, leaning too much into the three. And you might be right, John. It might be the only way that they can survive. And I'm almost certain that's how Joe feels about this right now.
Yeah.
But it frustrates me when you shoot 51 threes, have this kind of night, and you can't even acknowledge that you didn't get the best quality looks in this game. Because if you're not getting them, if they're too soon into the shot clock, you're rushing them, whatever it might be, you're not able to create any separation, so you're putting them up against five coverage. It's rough.
Let's work in Noah. Noah, what are your top takeaways from tonight?
My top takeaways is that I might not do a positive takeaways episode after this game.
Whoa, rest in peace to the positive takeaways.
I might have to take a night off because, to be honest with you, I think there were multiple issues. I mean, the rebounding that we talked about being a massive problem earlier in this season has returned in dramatic fashion. I thought that it was very emblematic of this whole team struggles that they lost on a putback that was relatively uncontested. I mean, that was as easy as a putback as you'll get by Nurkic. So that is one fundamental problem that I think is challenging. The other thing is that Joe Mazzulla will pretty much never call out effort. Maybe he's done it in his tenure, but very few. I honestly can't remember a time that he's done it. And so when he called out the team's effort in the third quarter today, that to me was pretty intentional. Like, he doesn't do that. You know, they've obviously not played hard, but this was not, that's not within his speech. So I followed up with him specifically because I was like, you haven't said this year, and I actually don't think he's ever said it. But so that is an issue because, as I'm sure you guys have discussed in the last hour, like, this team cannot afford to not be the harder playing team. And especially, Jalen said it, but like, the Jazz are on the second night of a back-to-back on the road. Like, it's kind of remarkable they're even in position to win this game, considering those two factors.
Sorry,
so
Bobby.
I'm not honestly it's less the threes for me. Like, I think that, I know we can talk about the threes all day, but those two things are what's front of mind, at least on the first watch. Like, I'll rewatch this game and it'll probably marinate a little bit, but that's kind of what stood out.
Yeah.
And that
no
call
doubt.
sucked, but that's
did.
But that's not the point. But that was an absurd call.
Right.
So I just want to point out, and Bobby's going to jump in here because he's got a retort. This game broke Derrick White and it broke Noah. And
it's hard to do.
Break me. I don't feel that different.
These are sad things for me to see. Okay, even though
John, I think you like it.
No, I don't. I don't. I don't always want to be right. Okay. It happens. It just happens. I don't want to be.
I'm not changing my view of this team through the 82 games. I'm just talking about this night's game, just to be clear.
After game 81, maybe you'll change it. But yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
Okay.
I'll say two things, Noah, because I don't know how you felt, but I did expect a slow start to this year, given the new personnel, all the reasons you could list off here. It is difficult to lose a handful of games at this point that you probably should have won if we're going to project this team to exceed expectations. They've been pretty healthy so far. The schedule's been tough, but they've had moments like this one where you get an advantage on a team, against the back-to-back. So they could have a much better second half of the year, a more consistent second half of the year, but this doesn't impact your thought that they're going to exceed expectations here at 3-5 start?
Not particularly. Maybe I wouldn't pick 45 if I was redoing it at this point, but I wouldn't pick way off that.
Wait, Bobby, pick a lane. Which one? Wait.
To me,
Wait a second.
He's
Before
swerving.
Noah came on, we were saying
You
that
can't
to
have a
him.
balanced view.
Wait, no, you can. You can't switch views. Like before, Jimmy and I were hammering away on the text thread like 30 minutes ago. You're like, I still think there's a lot of
feel
good.
like there's a lot of positive. I've said there's a lot of good. There's a lot of bad.
Okay.
That boils down to
Bobby, you had them.
500.
You had them winning 45 games, right?
Yeah, I had them exceeding expectations this year, maybe pushing up to 6 in the East.
Of
The
the three people here who had them better than 500, I will say that Noah had them with the fewest amount of wins in our bold predictions.
Woo!
Just between Sherrod, Bobby, and Noah. Just so that is. And Jimmy was the lowest at 35. I came in at 38, I believe.
What's shocking?
I don't want to be
me
right
so
here,
far-
but
It just happens, right, Jimmy? It just happens.
It just happens.
What's
must be
shocking to
my
me so
6
far,
or 7 cents.
I felt like this offense was going to be really good, given some of the personnel that they had coming back. That's been the struggle
They're
so
going to be
far.
really good? Really good?
Yeah, I thought they'd be excellent with the amount of shooting they have, some depth at different positions, Simon's coming in. But that's where they've struggled. Defensively, they've been good.
Let me ask you guys a question here. So, again, I hate having to qualify everything. Let's just go straight up with it. Josh Minot, did he turn into a pumpkin tonight? Is the dream dead? I'm not going to say, but look, we know why Josh Minot was valuable here. They needed him desperately in that front court to aid both defensively and with the rebounding. It was a good move. It probably led to a couple of wins there. It was a jolt that they needed, but now you've seen them kind of go away from him because the offensive deficiencies are becoming so glaring that it becomes a problem. And this is a concern, which is you have some players that can do one thing, but not the other thing. And which one are you going to, you got to pick your poison each night. I'm not saying Minot's played himself out of the starting lineup or the rotation, but he didn't start the second half. His minutes were lower and reduced here. And I think a lot of that has to do simply with him being Josh Minot, which is a player who doesn't have a very polished offensive game, brings a lot of energy, as we've seen, but can only take you so far. What are your thoughts?
That energy that he brings, it can't just be him running up and down the court all game long. It has to actually have an impact on the actual game being played. And I think the last couple of games, it hasn't been that. I mean, he's done the things that Josh Minot typically does, but it hasn't been game-changing or high impact. And that's what happens when your calling card is energy. Sometimes great energy doesn't result in great results or even good results. And I think we're seeing that with him because his game has to evolve from a skill standpoint. And that's one of the things you like about Josh Minot. There's a lot of room for him to get better. But between that point and where he's at now, you're going to have nights like this where the energy is going to be good. I mean, he was +6 when he was on the floor, but he really didn't do a whole lot as far as significantly impacting the game, which is what we saw early on in the first, week or so of the season. So, yeah, I think Joe Mazzulla is going to do what Joe is going to have to do all season long, and that is keep trying to find guys who not just play with great energy, but guys that can make a great impact on the team in terms of winning games or at least competing. And that was the disappointing part about this game. They just didn't have anyone, Josh Minot included, who was giving the kind of effort that allowed this team to compete. Because it's inexcusable that you lose to a team like Utah who's coming on a back-to-back. And granted, they were 11 for 51 from three-point range, but energy and great effort will get you some of those missed shots for twos and get you second and third shot opportunities, or you'll create more turnovers. It'll do something that can give you an opportunity to win a game that you really should have won. And the bad call against Jaylen Brown, yes, it was part of the narrative of why they lost, but it by no means was the only reason or the main reason why they lost. They simply didn't work hard. And seeing sad Derrick White was maybe the saddest thing I've seen in a long time. I mean, the hoodie on, just rubbing the head, just doing all the things like I could be anywhere in the world but here, and I'll be glad to be there. It's sad.
Yeah,
but real. That's where they are, though. That's where he's at. So
comment John just put up. I mean, Minot picked up 3 fouls in the first half, and it didn't seem like he really got into a flow of things. I like Minot in a role that suits Minot. And right now, because they're short staffed, right? Everyone's
playing up.
Short staffed is funny.
The rest of the starting lineup, he's being asked to do a lot more than he probably can do, but he can give you energy. He can play hard on both ends of the court. And if he does those things, Mazzulla will keep him in the game. I thought tonight, if he's not giving you enough of that, what he gives you on offense is not enough to keep him out there on the court, especially if he's going to pick up fouls. So it was a quick hook for him tonight. And then obviously he was replaced in the second half with Hauser. But I still think Minot can help this team. And I think he might be a guy, again, I think Jaylen Brown said earlier this year, he would have been a great guy to have in previous teams. He might be a good guy to have on future teams, right? When he doesn't have to be in the starting lineup. But it's not all of Minot's fault. I mean, he's in there with hopes that Brown's going to do his thing, White's going to do his thing, Pritchard's going to do his thing, and, Simons is going to come in and do his thing. And other than Brown and Pritchard for the first half, you didn't get enough offense from White. You didn't get enough from Pritchard.
Can I just say this, Jimmy? Because as you say this, it's pissing me off still.
Sure.
Like, this guy is not a great shooter. So if you're just going to put him out there and have him take a couple threes, and that's going to decide whether he has a good night or not offensively, you're going to get what you asked for there. Yeah, you're going to get what you asked for.
I don't think that's why he didn't play, though. I think he didn't play is because he got into foul trouble. I don't think he was playing smart basketball out there today. And he doesn't give you enough offensively, Bobby, to put up with the lack on the defensive side. So
but
that's why you might as well have Hauser out there. What?
Right, well, yeah, but he's been doing all that.
Right, but the point that you made, Jimmy, about just you talked about Brown, you talked about White, you talked about Pritchard, you talked about Simons. Here's the thing. Of those four guys, three of those four guys, I think it's fair to say, are playing at or below their normal level.
Correct.
And Minot is a guy that, for him to be good, the guys ahead of him have to be good. Right. He's not a guy that can create his own impact. He has to be in a situation where our guys around him are also doing their jobs. And when that's not happening, he's not going to look very good because this game is limited.
That's, again, right. I don't want to go ahead, Noah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, John.
John's
it's just the same,
right now.
It's the same thing I've been saying since 3 months ago. And I said in the preseason predictions, and I said 10 minutes ago, everyone is being asked to punch above their weight. And it's a problem. That's the problem.
Minot's not why they lost this game.
He's not.
The reason the reason it's not about Minot. It's if you go down the box score.
It's not about Minot.
So
it's
far,
everybody.
So far this season, every single game, one of these guys has brought this electric energy, except for the Rockets game. You look down the line today, it's like Luka Garza didn't do that. Ugo didn't do that. Baylor didn't do that. Chris Boucher didn't do that. Like, there's a reason why there's like 5 guys that played 10 minutes or less, but none of them, or 6 guys that played 10 minutes or less. It's like, I think Joe was trying to get one of these guys to stick, and it really just didn't happen tonight. I'll also note Jaylen Brown was a plus 21, and he played 38 minutes in this game. The minutes that Jaylen Brown was off the floor, they were outscored by 22 points. Like, that's absurd. And I'm not a huge plus minus person because I think that there are a lot of limitations to that. But like, that kind of shows you a part of the story of this game of like how much this team has not been able to survive without him on the floor. And so to me, it's just like, the fact it needs to be somebody. It has to either be Ugo that comes in and gives you that, or Jordan, or whoever else. And when it's nobody, you have what you saw tonight. And that's like my initial thought on what we saw in this game, especially in that second half where there was really like a very flat energy that I do think was not representative of how the season has gone whatsoever.
Yeah,
and that's why I don't.
The energy is one thing, but I just want to go back to it, Noah. Like, but you're going to get inconsistent play oftentimes from just lots of players on the team because that's who they are. It is a you are what you are scenario. Effort is one thing. The other is you can play with effort and just simply, these guys are just going to be who they're going to be. And this is what I've been saying from the get-go. It's always going to be a challenge because every single player, with the exception of Jaylen Brown, is being asked to do things they've never really done before. And they're being asked to punch above their weight all the way through the lineup, and that includes a lot of the starters. Derrick White now having to be a secondary scoring option. Peyton Pritchard moving into the starting lineup and being your number 3 scoring option. Neemish Queta starting center after going for a couple minutes a game, whether it's Minot or Hauser starting. All of these guys are being asked to kind of carry a much larger burden than they're used to. So sometimes you're going to look at it and be like, well, if this just happened or the shots just fell or such and such. There's a reason why that's not happening. I don't think it's just bad luck. I think it's just it's harder for these guys to succeed. It's harder for these guys to succeed in their roles without all of the talented players they had around them that made their jobs a little bit easier. This is going to continue to be a problem all season long.
Yeah, and that's why I look to the creator. I just can't get on a Minot and a Kada and guys who are fighting. Maybe their energy wasn't on the par tonight, but it has been throughout the season. I think if we're looking at the year in totality, which is what I want to keep doing here, because I'm not just going off one game or this game or that, you know, when they win, they're great. When they lose, they're terrible. If we're looking at this whole season in totality, Jalen's been able to consistently attack mismatches, do what this team did in previous seasons. Because if we're being 1,000% honest, the offense that they're running this year hasn't been all that different from what they've done in recent years. I think they're still trying to set up Jalen in some of those mismatch situations. They're still trying to rotate guys over and kick out for threes. They're still doing a lot of the same stuff here. The pace hasn't even been that much more extraordinarily higher than recent years, if we're looking at it statistically here. So Jalen's doing his thing there. I look at Derrick and Pritchard, who I'll give some leeway. They've missed shots. They've struggled to hit open threes. They're mostly doing their jobs outside of that shooting. But are they going to be able to consistently expose a mismatch? Are they going to be able to consistently give you the scoring as the second and third options on this team that you're going to need to get by on most nights? And so far, the answer is no, for whatever reason, whether it's just misses, whether it's the strain of doing everything now in these starting lineups and in these bigger roles, having bigger defensive assignments, whatever it might be. Joe saying that the faster pace has impacted their legs. There's any number of reasons that we can explain why those two guys have struggled to start this year. And I was saying to Noah earlier, like, I have flipped on my concern being greater for Pritchard than it was for White. My concern is definitely higher for White than it's been for Pritchard at this point.
Well, Noah, let me ask you. You got your Pritchard game, which was good because I think a lot of us agreed.
I think he was especially good today.
No, but I mean, the shot started falling where it wasn't before. And again, it started 3 of 5, and he only made one of his final 6 shots here. But again, closer to his average and closer to what you're used to seeing. At least to see that 3 go down a little bit was better. And he has been, as you said, he was doing some work from 2-point range. But talk about Derrick White's struggles. Like Joe before the game said, I don't think he's playing bad at all. Shots not going down. Do you agree with that?
I think he looks like he's really in his head. And I don't know that, like, I think what Joe's point is when he's talking about that is that it's not like he's missing shots and now he's not playing hard on defense, which obviously is a phenomenon that happens quite a bit in the NBA where offense, and we've seen it on this Celtics, the Celtics run under Mazzulla plenty of times where, it seems like there was a direct impact there. I don't know that I've seen Derrick like not playing as hard, but he doesn't look like himself offensively at all. And I felt this way for a couple of weeks now, or last couple of games here, that Payton seems like he's just missing clean looks. I don't feel like Derrick is getting the same looks that he used to get. And he's also, I'm not saying he's taking bad shots. Like I would have to like really go through and look at every single shot to say that. But sometimes they're quick releases. Sometimes they're not within a good flow. And it's hard because that's kind of his game too. Like Derrick takes some crazy threes, but he's not feeling it right now. And so some of these shots, like I don't know if he shouldn't take them or if it's because he's taking it because he doesn't think they can get a better look later, which is a problem. But I don't like what's happening with him offensively right now. It doesn't feel like he's just missing clean looks. And I do feel like that's what's been happening with Pritchard. And that's not me putting it doesn't mean that Pritchard's fine and Derrick sucks. Like it's not that at all. It's just he might have lost more in this carryover from last year to this year than Payton did as far as, and Payton has been very adamant too. Like he was very adamant today, but he has been really every time we've spoken to him that he really likes the shots that he's getting. And I think his struggles have been more pronounced because people are so considering like who should he be starting or coming off the bench where he's been honestly fine, like relative to most people's expectations, I would say.
I don't think Payton should be worried because he is literally getting the same shots that he got last year.
Right.
Yeah.
But is Derrick for sure not though? Like it feels
Derrick
like he's not.
Derrick's not.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like he doesn't look comfortable on offense, and he's made it work here and there. Like he had a couple of games where like down the stretch he started attacking the basket and like kind of just accepted the fact the 3 was not dropping, but he's not getting like a ton of clean threes. I don't think.
So
like, it just
that's what happens when you, as John pointed out, that's what happens when you move up the pecking order. you're not going to get the same looks because the role that teams have you in terms of the scouting report is very different.
But that's
now.
the thing is how much of it is him having to create more and pull up more as opposed to
That's
catch and
exactly
shoot,
what
you
it
know?
is. So
And that's across the board where I said this at the top of the show, guys, just to recap. When everyone's, like I said, everyone's being asked to punch above their weight, part of it is before there's a lot of catch and shoot opportunities because of the gravity of all the players around you. And now you have to create more of your looks.
Right.
And I cited the Houston
That's
game
exactly what the issue is
where
with
it was impossible for Derrick White and Peyton Pritchard to get space because they were getting swarmed by super athletic, larger defenders. And you could see how hard they were working and how almost impossible it was to be able to get free and into a position where they could get the type of looks that they're accustomed to getting. So, go
when
ahead,
you don't
Bobby.
have
Sorry.
Al Horford
I didn't mean
for
to steal
Drew,
your thunder,
for
but
Drew, this is what happens. This is what happens when you don't have guys all over the floor that teams have to be worried about can do things.
So, yeah, and I think that's the perfect way to put it is that he has to create everything. Like if you're looking at the percentage of his shots that are unassisted versus assisted now, it's a pretty drastic difference from over last year. There were some possessions in this game where you just saw him going one-on-one, trying to find space, trying to just dribble his way into a shot, and so you see it right on the film how difficult it is for him right now. And unlike Pritchard, who I feel like has generated a good amount of open shots to this point, the defense is keying in on Derrick. And, Will Hardy said it before the game. I don't know if he meant like we're keying in on him more and it's not going under the radar, but he says this just isn't a guy who is going under the radar anymore necessarily. So I think he's definitely higher up on team scouting reports. I looked at the Jazz scouting report in their locker room because sometimes it's just sitting there on the whiteboard and, it's pocket threes for White, pocket threes for Pritchard. Like they're just trying to take away those threes. And if you look at White right now, he has the second most 3-point attempts in the league. And I don't feel like a lot of them have been great quality necessarily here. I did see his dad before the game. And so, I went over to him and I was like, all right, what are you seeing here? Like first is he frustrated through the stretch? Like, is he a guy who gets down when he's shooting like this? And he said, no, that's not really, what he does when he's struggling like this. But he does see him really struggling with the screeners. Like these centers, these guys that they have right now in the pick and roll with him just aren't generating the same amount of space that the Horfords, that the Cornets, that the Porzingises of the world did in the past. So that's a product of your personnel. I don't feel like they've had a prolific pick and roll game this year. You're not seeing like him and Keita, setting up for alley-oop plays. You're not seeing Garza roll the rim for a lot of looks out there. And certainly Boucher hasn't given them a ton at that position either, other than, putting up some jump shots. So
I did like the hair tonight though. Yeah.
I like that they're giving them a shot there.
I like the look. A couple super chats I want to throw out there, and I also want to remind anyone here, as we said earlier in the show, all of these super chats and all of the proceeds we get off of them are going to hurricane relief to help Noah's roommate's family in Jamaica. Hurricane ravaged Jamaica, and we're going to put up the information for that donation once again. There's a QR code you see right over here. Do that, get to that to donate. D. White used to create shots last year in actions with Tatum. What happened? Where'd it go?
Disappeared. I was trying to do it too.
Now he has to do the same things with Minot. Of course, he's uncomfortable. Thank you very much, David Andrews. And then ZP0423. Celtics 3-17 when D. White shoots 12 plus threes. That's an interesting stat if true. Since 2021.
That's fascinating.
That is a fascinating stat. I want to put this up one more time. Help rebuild after flood support needed for hurricane relief in Jamaica. Noah, you could probably do this promo better justice than I did. We mentioned it at the top of the show. You can donate through the code. It's pinned in the chat as well. And any super chats we get, we're going to send the proceeds over there as well. But Noah, why don't you give it a plug?
Yeah, my roommate's from Jamaica. She obviously has been following very closely and keeping us up to speed about everything that's been going on over there. Category 5 hurricane, one of the worst hurricanes ever in that region. I'm sure people have seen it on the news, but there's a GoFundMe going for her family friend who they pretty much lost everything, their house, all their belongings. They have a lot of medical concerns now because they had to swim through this very dangerous water, which is very toxic. And so they have medical bills and all of that. And they also don't have literally anything right now. So we're just using this show as an opportunity to help fundraise. Also, I'm matching the first $500 in donations. So anything that we raise tonight, I will match up to $500, and I'll post some receipts hopefully tomorrow if we get there. So
Nice.
yeah, thanks everybody.
Yep. So again, not your last chance. You can do this through the duration of this show. You watch this on repeat. Again, it's all there. And Noah, you can just check out Noah's Twitter for more information if you want to donate as well. We're trying to reach a goal here, but it would be nice to exceed it as well. So please be generous and kick in. And again, any super chats we get over the duration of this show, the rest of the way, will go in here. Can the CLNS crew give us their best player that is not walking through that door? In the chat right now, people have been naming obscure players that are not
Kevin
walking
Garnett.
through that door. That's not obscure.
Obscure.
That's who I want.
That name rings a bell. I've heard of that guy before.
I'm sorry, I missed the obscure piece. I didn't
That's like
follow
when you
that
said
one.
Ghostbusters
Give me
was niche or
obscure.
something like that.
You know who's not walking through that door? Thank God, Mark Blount. Because if he was, he'd scam the whole organization out of a contract. He'd probably rip down 15 boards a game, no problem, and then he'd get his fat payday, and then it'd disappear. And it'd be. And I think right now, Mark Blount is like the manager of like 15 Auntie Annie's in like Florida or something like that.
You know who's not walking through that door? Milt Palacio is not walking through that door.
Milt Palacio's not walking through that door.
By the way, Milt Palacio,
Mikey Moore is
author
not
of
walking
one
through
of
that door.
Mikey
Milt Palacio,
Moore.
author of one of the greatest, most improbable probability flips ever in a game when he stole
With
a
that
pass with the Celtics
three-quarter
down 2 at
pass,
half at half court and falling out of bounds, hit a 3-pointer to win a game. But
That was
Stojko
unreal.
Brankovic is also not
Kevin
walking
Gelly.
through that door. Yeah.
Oh,
And
nice.
Kevin Gelly is
Big
not.
donation
AC
here for
Earl.
the fun.
AC Earl is not walking through that door.
We need centers. I mean, obscure. Kedrick Brown isn't walking through that door either.
Hey guys, we got to put this one up here.
Big super chat
He's-
here.
He's definitely not walking through that door. Sure.
Monster super chat. We're sending this directly to Noah's friend from Gregory Leclerc. $199.99.
Oh my
a
gosh,
big one
I saw
here.
19.
No,
Damn.
two-
Okay, Greg.
Very, very nice, Greg.
Very
Thank
nice.
you very much. That's very nice of you. And thank you to everybody. Even, it doesn't have to be that big a number, but it certainly is nice. Everybody who's donated tonight, we do thank you every little bit.
Vitaly
is
Potapenko
appreciated.
isn't walking through that door either.
No, he's definitely not.
No.
He's definitely not.
Andrew DeClerc isn't walking through that door. We need centers.
Dino Rush is not walking through that
Dino,
door.
you love
Eric
doing that.
Montross. Eric Montross is not walking through that door.
Oh, someone said Dino just at the same time as I did. Yeah, Eddie Pinkney not walking through that door.
No?
If you want bigs, no, he's not.
Damn, that's too bad. Tony Batti's not walking through that door either.
No, Chris Humphreys not walking through that door.
No, Chris Humphries isn't walking through any doors.
Don't say Montrose. Yeah.
Leon
Vin
Ball
Baker.
walked
Anyway.
through the door.
He's a
around-
little
he's
Vin
around
Baker.
here.
This season would be great for Vin Baker.
$2 for Eric Williams. Send it to Hurricane Relief. Yes, absolutely.
Eric Williams isn't walking through that door either.
Gomez.
Guys, we'll give you 5 minutes here. Give us a super chat and an obscure Celtic. Go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And
Joe
you'll get it up
Gilliam,
there.
Celtics
Taco.
Media is not walking through that door. Sending $10 to Hurricane Relief.
Thank God. No, they're not walking through the door, but they're getting the floor mopped with them.
They're
Though. We
getting
know
their
that.
doors blown off. They're getting their doors blown off as we speak.
We play with good energy, though. I got the number for
Yeah.
you here, John. And I'll give
Oh,
credit
good.
to Justin Turpin, who pointed this out to me earlier. Percentage of field goals assisted for Derrick White this season. Last year on 2-pointers, well, it doesn't really matter, 46 to 42 in terms of percentage assisted. But the 3-pointer, 81% of his threes last year were assisted. To start this year, just 65. So that has dropped
Okay.
drastically. He's creating everything himself effectively here.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, where do we go from here, guys? What's the next game?
Wizards.
Ugh,
There you
Better
go.
win that one.
From bad to
Boy,
worse.
you guys do not want to be on this show. You guys do not want to watch if they lose that one.
I'm going to be
Yeah.
on the show Wednesday night for sure.
I might fall ill if they lose that game. Right towards the buzzer.
John, there is one. Can I hijack the production for a second or no?
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
There's
Go
one
ahead,
thing I
Jimmy.
want to. We haven't played this yet this year, but I think it's time.
Oh no, we're
Oh,
doing that
no.
one.
Off
I don't
2
know.
games.
I don't know which one is it.
Jimmy, stop it. Get it off the screen, Jimmy.
Damn it.
Jimmy.
Is there a better one? Oh yeah, there is a better one. Damn, I forgot about that one.
No, I'm not panicked. I'm sticking with 38
Whoa,
wins.
John, your mic.
Mike.
Oh,
alert.
God.
Mike alert. Mike alert. Let's try that again.
It's
How about now?
Okay.
it's
try
so
that.
annoying. If I hit any button,
You
on
sound
this
good now.
app, I mute, or I play one of those things, it knocks my mic offline. It's so bizarre. Anyway,
I only want to
meter,
play because I want to get the answers from these two.
What do you?
These-
Why
I'm
don't
in
you
the
go
same
first,
place.
Jimmy?
Jimmy and I are in the same place. We're exactly where we were.
Yeah.
Red.
Literally nothing's changed. What about you guys?
We're not
Go.
panicked. This is happening. This is what's supposed to happen.
Yeah,
But I think
this is what happens when you do the things they've done in the offseason and you play the way they do. You knew it was going to be an up and down type season. So there's nothing they've done that surprises me at this point. They are who, as you know, the Super Chat said earlier, they are who they are.
I'm mildly concerned about the offense and some of the woes guys are going through, but I'm in like the yellow, like the one right above green there. I'm just not in panic mode yet because, again, I think they figured out quite a bit at this stage of the season. We're 2 weeks in. The schedule's been pretty tough. This is the first loss this year that's really made me feel terrible. And so I'm not going to jump off the cliff because of one game.
Can I ask you a question? Not just panic meter. What made you feel worse, this loss or Houston? Because like you can chalk up
This
Houston
one
to
for
just.
sure.
For sure, this one.
Really, I think Houston, and I'll tell you
I'm
why.
with you, John. Actually, I like that.
This
take.
is like, okay, this sucked. You played bad. You shot horribly. You had one bad quarter against a crap team and you lost. But like, you're not that much better than them. Houston
and like that
showed
happens.
you. That happens. Houston showed you what a massive gulf there is between good and you. Like massive gulf. Massive.
I don't feel that way.
But John, let me ask you this.
That's how I felt.
Did you need to see that?
Yeah.
But John,
What's
did
that?
you need to see that to know that there was the massive goal?
No, because look, you just beat Cleveland by playing harder than them, and again, they were a little shorthanded as well. Right. But the Houston was this was coaches versus media. You know, like this is a bad one. Like this, they don't have a chance here. Like it was a bad.
And
like
Houston didn't even have a great start to the season.
I think you're more. I think if you're the Celtics, personally, you're more demoralized after Houston than you are after tonight. Tonight, you chalk it up to it wasn't our night. We had a bad one. Houston is like, Jesus, man, we're not.
Houston's
we're
like, wow,
not good.
okay, that's a good team. Okay,
yeah, that's how I felt. So I'm not as down about this one.
I want to know
how
where
about
Noah's
this
at.
one.
I want to know where
last
Noah's at on the
conversation.
panic meter, though.
Oh yeah, where are you on the panic meter? And then I had one more topic.
Nope, not panicking, but I do think that this was a very discouraging loss. If there's going to be a discouraging loss, because you have like has been said on the show multiple times tonight, like this is the kind of game you have to win based on who you're facing, and then also you just can't afford to not be the harder playing team like at all. And I think that you were. And then the other piece I'll say is individually, I feel like Jalen's around where I thought he would be this season. Payton's honestly around where I thought he would be. I thought he'd be shooting a little bit better. A little concerned about Derrick. Just like I had Derrick as an all-star this season. That was my prediction.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's a guy
that
if you had told me like, 2 weeks into the season, 3 weeks into the season, like how's Derrick looking, I wouldn't think he'd be looking the way he's looking right now. So I guess he could be my biggest delta as far as like expectations versus what's actually transpired here over the past few weeks. Is I just expected him to be able to create his own shot a little bit better and to be kind of like, I mean, I think 3 of the 5 of us had, or I don't know if Sherrod, you were, I think 3 of the 5 of us had Derrick as
All-star.
the best player on this team over Jalen. And I think Bobby and I were the only ones that still said Jalen was the best player on this team. So
hey, look
we
at
have a lot
us.
of confidence as a group, right? About his.
You guys needed a win. Yeah.
We needed a win, and I made sure we called it out here.
Hang on to that one. You're gonna need
That's
that
a
one
good
all
one,
year.
Noah. I was looking for it earlier. I needed you
You
earlier.
notice how I wove that in, John?
Noah's win is Derrick White sucks. Got it, guys.
No, I'm just saying. That I think
Noah, you missed.
Even
No, I
those
know,
of us
Noah.
like Jimmy, who were very low on this team, were high on what Derrick could do this season. So that, to me, is the biggest surprise, I guess, in a negative way.
No, I needed you earlier when I was getting bullied by these 3 over here before you logged on.
That was nothing, Bobby. It's gonna be a long year. All right, John.
Bobby,
What's the
that
other
was
thing you
nothing.
got?
No, a lot of the chat was having the Filipowski versus Baylor Shireman
I
conversation
thought about
today.
going there, John.
Yeah. And look, let's be real. Like, he hasn't been great either, but he's played, but it's also a
His
bad
numbers
team.
aren't good.
His numbers aren't great, but he did some good things tonight. I am a little not disappointed. You want to see a little bit of momentum carry off of it. And again, it was a blowout, but Baylor Shireman playing more minutes and getting 17 points and knocking down some shots. I would have liked to see the momentum tick up. And then he goes in and he throws a behind the back pass and Joe just yanks him out of the game immediately. And I was like, I'm like, come on, man. And that being said, he threw him back in when he did that almost wholesale change where he changed out 4 of the 5 guys a couple of minutes later. So it wasn't like a long trip to the doghouse, but like, why is Joe doing that? That's what I wanted to ask.
This is a fascinating thing for me because he started doing this in preseason where we can, like, normally we don't have a ton of insight into the sub patterns, but starting in preseason, it became very easy for the common viewer to understand why Joe was making certain patterns, or at least looks like it. Like, guy misses a rebound, guy gets pulled. Guy makes a highlight play, guy gets pulled. And I think Baylor's been on the wrong end of that, maybe more than anybody. Kata's probably up there too. I don't know what the point of that is, if it's just as like a learning tool. With Baylor, like, because my take on him is that he is just playing so uptight. When he does a flashy thing like that, I'm like, it's him like getting in his flow, but then also it looks so bad. It's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you throwing that pass? So I understand both sides of it, but that was tough because I was
just
like,
let him
started
do
looking a
it.
little bit more comfortable today, and then that happens. And maybe that's not why he got yanked. Like, I can't say for certain, but it did look like it was. Like,
I hated that. And
as soon as he did it, I was like, oh, I know he's going to the bench right now. Like, it's.
I hated that Joe did it. I hated that he did it. Now, I'll say that wasn't flash for the sake of flash. I actually think at that moment, I think that he thought that was the best basketball play. He caught it. He was kind of tripping out of bounds, and there was a player going, and that was the best way to get it there. He just didn't connect. I didn't think it was an unnecessary, like, I'm on a 2-on-1, and I'm going to throw this one behind the back just for a little style. I actually think he thought this is the way to get the ball to this guy, and he did it. But I hated that Joe benched him. I really did. Nobody?
Max, my dog.
No one feels bad for Baylor? I do.
I feel bad for Baylor because the problem with Baylor is that when he's at his best in college and high school and brief since the NBA, that's how he plays. And so it might, like, you know who else is like that? Pajemski for the Warriors. Like, he has this flash in his game too that, like, especially during his rookie season, there were moments where it's like, whoa, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you making plays like this?
I thought fans couldn't stand him.
Yeah, and I'm saying it turned fans against him because fans are like, why are you throwing a behind the back pass or like doing this cocky thing when you're like 0 for 4 and Steph Curry's on the court? But it's hard because it's not just like, it's like these guys this is how they play. Like, that's Baylor's play style. So I haven't been able to figure out the solution there because I don't want Baylor to play uptight. Like, you have to take all the pizzazz out of his game. That's what it is.
You want to keep
blowing kisses after he hits a shot?
It's part of his game. He's fancy. Sorry, Jimmy, go ahead.
You cool with the 1 for 7, but like one blown kiss? Because that's still happening.
He hasn't done that.
I literally saw him blow a kiss like 2 games ago.
Okay, but he was 6 for 7 in that game.
All right, well.
But it was bad. They were down by 30, and he you could tell he tried to stop himself from blowing the kiss. My dad brought that up to me. He was like, "Was Baylor blowing kisses during the blowout?" I was like, "No, he was stopping himself."
I think I saw one. I have to go check the tapes.
I said this the other night. I don't mind that they're using him in this role because I think it'll hopefully naturally force him into more of a role player direction. And I think that's what his game's going to have to become. It's going to decide whether he makes it here. I think because unless things go sideways and he gets to play a lot of minutes and handle the ball a lot later in the year, he's going to have the opportunity to do all the things he's done his whole life here. So maybe it wasn't the best fit bringing him in here, but we'll see.
It's a mistake. You got to play him more, and you got to live with mistakes. He's a first-round draft pick. You have to develop and see whether he can play. If you keep doing this stuff
every night, though, John.
He's 7 minutes tonight, Bobby. You can't. This doesn't work.
Yeah, what are you gonna learn? What are you gonna do?
You're not gonna learn if you're getting benched at the first. He's my Romeo in this case. I don't think he's necessarily great. You got to play him and see. I'm not sold that Baylor Shireman is great. I wasn't sold on Neesmith. I wasn't sold on Romeo. But let's just see. I'd rather see him play than other guys who might do what Joe wants because you're hoping there's a ceiling there with a former first-round pick. And if not, cut bait, move on to the next thing. But you got to give him some shot. 7 minutes and being punished every time he makes a mistake is not going to work. It's the wrong philosophy to have on this team. It can't just be wins are the only thing that matters. You have to be taking a long view. Management built a roster with an eye on 26 and 27. You can't coach different than that. And that's going to bother me if it continues on. It really is.
I think, to your point, John, I think that will eventually be the case, but I think they owe it to Jaylen Brown and Derrick White and some of those guys to try to play to win the game. And then I think it's inevitable that at some point in the season, earmuffs for the green teamers, but I think they will have to play the kids, as you like to say, at some point.
Some you got to see it. You got to see it. Anyway, we're back on Wednesday, and then again, is it what's the next one? Is it the
Wednesday,
Saturday?
Friday, Sunday?
Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So we got a full slate here on the Garden Report this week. So check it out. One last plug to help rebuild, Jamaica and help out Noah's roommate's family. Family or family's friend?
Family friend.
Family friends.
Family friend. We are trying to help them out. You see the QR code there. Donate right now if you can. As we said, we'll send all the super chats from this show over there as well, but you can continue to donate here using that link, and it is pinned in the chat as well. So please check it out. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks, #1 daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy. Download the app, use code CLNS, get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineups. It's good to be right. And Omaha Steaks, check it out, omahasteaks.com. 50% site-wide sale, an extra 20% off on select items. Terms do apply. Use the code PATRIOTS at checkout to get $35 additional off. Celtics lose a bad one today to a bad Utah Jazz team on the second night of a back-to-back after having been blown out the night before to Charlotte. Celtics dropped this one 105-103. Definitely the worst loss of the young season. They fall to 3-5. They can make it up against the even more miserable Wizards on Wednesday. We'll be back here. We hope you are as well. We will see you guys on Wednesday. Good night.